Let's go to Central Africa, where Cameroon is preparing a direct loan of about 250 billion CFA franc from local banks, which will be backed with a guarantee from the African Export-Import Bank as part of the upcoming revised finance bill for Cameroon's 2025 national budget. Now, speaking in Cairo at the weekend, the Cameroon's finance minister, Louis Paul Motaze, says the change of leadership at Afreximbank comes at a critical time of global uncertainty, and that calls for clarity of vision.
Today marks the beginning of a new era with the investiture of Dr. George Elombi as head of Afreximbank. Mr. Chairman, your election is not merely an institutional transition. It is a promise, a source of hope, an expression of the trust that Africa has placed in your hands. I had the honor of receiving you in Yaoundé the day after your election, and I was struck by the clarity of your vision to make African finance an instrument of structural transformation, mobilize new resources, boost our private sector, and give Africa the means to speak on equal terms with the rest of the world. Mr. Chairman, your investiture comes at a time when the international context is experiencing profound changes. African economies are operating in an uncertain global environment marked by slowing global growth, persistent inflation, high commodity prices, high debt levels, geopolitical tensions, and the effects of climate change. Added to this are structural challenges specific to our continent, namely excessive dependence on commodity exports, a weak industrial base, inadequate infrastructure, and constraints on access to finance. Yet, at the center of these challenges lie immense opportunities, a young and dynamic population, considerable agricultural potential, an ongoing digital transition, and a shared desire to build an integrated and prosperous Africa. Afreximbank, through its mission and experience, remains a key actor in transforming these challenges into development opportunities. In Cameroon, our commitment is evidenced by the implementation of the National Development Strategy adopted under the distinguished leadership of the President of the Republic, Head of State, His Excellency Mr. Paul Biya. This strategy seeks to industrialize our economy, modernize our basic infrastructure, improve the well-being of our people, diversify our sources of growth, and create jobs for young people. It is based on four fundamental pillars: structural transformation and economic diversification, human capital development and social welfare, promotion of employment and economic inclusion, and after, governance and public service performance. However, considerable challenges remain. Mobilizing sufficient resources to finance our investment program, resilience to external shocks, controlling the cost of debt, modernizing the productive sector, and effectively integrating young people and women into the growth dynamic. This is why partnerships with institutions such as Afreximbank are crucial. They enable us to diversify our sources of financing, boost the private sector, and support the economic transformation we all cherish. Distinguished guests, Cameroon is now a country that is standing tall, resilient, and resolutely focused on the future. Our economy is experiencing sustainable growth, estimated at more than 4% in 2025, and is set to strengthen in the coming years. Our public debt controlled at around 42% of GDP, remains well below the 70% threshold set by the Central Africa Economic and Monetary Community, proof of our rigor and prudence. In addition to this macroeconomic strength, Cameroon has a geostrategic advantage. It is the crossroads of Central Africa, open to the Gulf of Guinea, with modern ports in Douala and Kribi, and immense potential in agriculture, mining, energy, and industry. Our structural reforms, ranging from the modernization of the tax framework to the digitalization of public services, are making our environment more attractive and competitive every day. We therefore call on Afreximbank to stand by us. Together, we can transform this potential into wealth, these hopes into reality, and make our partnership part of a dynamic of shared prosperity for the whole of Africa.